When something overwhelming happens and we don't have the capacity to process it, our nervous system takes over. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. These are not choices. They're ancient survival reflexes. And when the danger passes but the body doesn't fully complete those responses, they can get stored. Not as a clear memory, but as muscular tension, chronic hyperarousal, or numbness. This is why trauma is often a body-first experience. You might have no words for it, no narrative, just sensations, symptoms, patterns you can't explain logically. The good news is, the body also knows how to release. Every mammal on the planet trembles, shakes, breathes, and discharges energy after a stressful event. Humans, though, we've learned to suppress. We tighten, we armor up. We pretend we're fine. But the body remembers what the mind tries to forget. Trauma pattern 1, chronic tension and armoring. The first trauma pattern lives in the muscles. It's the armor we build to survive. Chronic tightness in the jaw, shoulders, pelvis, or gut. A sense of always being on guard. That feeling that if you finally relaxed, something might fall apart. This isn't weakness. It's the body trying to protect you. When we're in danger, especially emotional or relational danger, the muscles brace. It's like the body whispers, "If I stay tight, I'll stay safe." But over time, this bracing becomes invisible. You can live for years not realizing your body is in a low-level fight-or-flight state. I remember a period in my own life where my shoulders felt like stone. I stretched, I trained, I got massages, nothing changed. Because it wasn't about muscles. It was about unprocessed fear. In therapy and through TRE, tension and trauma release exercises, I began to let my body tremble for the first time. What looked like a simple shake was actually something ancient. The completion of a survival response that had been frozen in me since childhood. How it shows up: tight shoulders, jaw, hips, tension, headaches, breath that's shallow and fast, feeling wired even when tired. Somatic ways to release. TRE, tension and trauma release exercises, gently activating natural tremors to discharge stored energy. Deep belly breathing, expanding the diaphragm tells the nervous system it's safe. Progressive unwinding, lying on the floor, softening one muscle group at a time, noticing what happens. This kind of release isn't dramatic. It's subtle. Sometimes it looks like a sigh, sometimes a tear, sometimes a small shake in the legs. But over time, the armor softens. And where tension once lived, breath begins to return. Trauma pattern 2, numbness and disconnection. Not all trauma feels tense. Some of it feels like nothing at all. For many trauma survivors, the body learns that feeling is dangerous. So it shuts down sensation to keep you safe. You might feel emotionally flat, even in meaningful moments. Have trouble connecting to your body. Feel like your life is happening behind glass. Confuse calmness with numbness. This is not laziness. This is dorsal vagal shutdown, the nervous system's freeze response. When fight or flight isn't possible, the body chooses conservation. It says, "If I can't escape, I'll disappear." Jung often spoke of what he called the shadow, the disowned parts of the self that live below awareness. Numbness often hides a shadow of pain that was too overwhelming to face at the time it happened. I remember standing in front of a mirror once and realizing I couldn't actually feel my body. I looked fine. I was breathing. But it was like there was a glass wall between me and me. This kind of disconnection can last for years without a person realizing it's trauma. How it shows up: emotional flatness, low energy, fatigue, sense of unreality or detachment, difficulty accessing pleasure or grief. Somatic ways to release. Gentle grounding, placing a hand on the chest, feet on the floor, numbing sensations, even neutral ones. Pendulation, somatic experiencing, gently moving awareness between numb areas and safe sensations. Small movements, rocking, swaying, or humming to re-engage the vagus nerve and bring energy back slowly. The key here is slowness. Numbness is the body's way of saying enough. You don't fight it, you meet it gently without force. Trauma pattern 3, hyperarousal and stored energy. Some people don't collapse or freeze. They live with their nervous system stuck on overdrive. This looks like racing thoughts, heart pounding for no clear reason, trouble sleeping, always feeling on edge or wired. This is the sympathetic branch of the nervous system, fight or flight, running long after the danger is gone. Hyperarousal often comes from prolonged stress or chronic unsafe environments, especially in childhood. When your body grew up scanning for danger, it doesn't know how to stop. You may become excellent at functioning, successful even, but underneath it's like you're holding your breath all the time. For me, this pattern was the hardest to admit. I thought I was just a high-energy person, but underneath was fear. Fear I never let myself fully feel. In Jungian terms, what we don't face consciously rules us from the shadows. And my body was ruled by a survival pattern I'd mistaken for personality. How it shows up: insomnia, racing heart; hypervigilance, startle response to sudden sounds; irritability or panic. Somatic ways to release: shaking and tremoring, using TRE or intuitive movement to discharge energy; extended exhales, breathwork that lengthens exhalation, triggers the parasympathetic state; rhythmic movement, walking, dancing, or slow, repetitive motions that give the nervous system a way to process. This is where somatic work shines, because hyperarousal is not something you think your way out of. You feel your way through it. Trauma pattern 4, collapsed posture and emotional holding. Sometimes trauma shows itself in the shape of your body. A collapsed chest, rounded shoulders, a sunken belly, a posture that seems to say, "I'm small, I'm not here." Posture is more than habit. It's an emotional language. When we carry shame, grief, or powerlessness, our bodies adapt to make us invisible or to protect the vulnerable heart. This often develops early in life, especially in environments where being big, expressive, or visible felt unsafe. How it shows up: chronic slouching, shallow breathing, low confidence and energy, feeling emotionally folded in. I remember noticing this after a big emotional breakthrough. The day I realized I had been walking for years with my chest slightly collapsed inward, almost like an apology. When I started doing somatic opening practices, like gently expanding the chest and breathing into the heart space, emotions that had been buried for years came flooding out. Grief, anger, tenderness, and beneath all of it, aliveness. Somatic ways to release: heart-opening postures, supported backbends, or simple standing stretches. Slow breath into the chest to expand the area trauma collapsed. Gentle sound, sighing, humming, or low vocalization to release held emotion. You're not fixing posture here. You're letting the body express what it couldn't before. Why this matters: all 4 of these trauma patterns, armoring, numbness, hyperarousal, and collapse, are adaptive. They are the body's intelligent attempts to protect us when the world felt too much. But what once protected us can later imprison us. These patterns influence how we breathe, how we connect with others, how we experience intimacy, how much of life we can actually feel. This is why trauma healing can't just happen through talking. It must involve the body, because that's where the story lives. Carl Jung spoke often about the unconscious body, the instincts and energies that operate below the mind's surface. To truly integrate trauma, we have to meet those depths, not through force, but through listening. A moment from my journey. A few years ago, I went through a period of chronic anxiety and exhaustion. No matter how much I worked on my mindset, it didn't change. Then one night during a TRE session, my legs began to shake uncontrollably. It wasn't scary, it was ancient. My body was finally doing what it should have been allowed to do decades ago. As I lay there trembling, something in me softened. The anxiety was in my head. It was in my nervous system. And the moment I let my body finish what it started long ago, the pressure began to ease. Not instantly, not perfectly, but enough to feel like I was finally coming home to myself. Bringing awareness to your own body. I want to ask you something. Where in your body do you feel the weight of what you've been through? Not where you think it should be, but where it actually lives right now. Notice without trying to fix it. This is how the conversation with your body begins. Gentle somatic approaches, practical guide. If this resonates, here are a few gentle, trauma-informed practices to explore. Grounding through the feet. Stand or sit with both feet on the floor. Feel the weight of gravity. Let your breath settle into your belly. Body scanning without judgment. Start at your head and slowly move down, noticing where there's tension, numbness, or warmth. You don't have to change it, just notice. Shaking or tremoring. Allow your body to shake gently. This can be guided through TRE or intuitive movement. Tremors are not a sign of weakness. They are the language of release. Slow, rhythmic breath. Inhale softly through the nose. Exhale longer than you inhale. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural safety brake. Pendulation. Bring attention between a neutral or pleasant sensation and a difficult one. This teaches your nervous system to regulate gently, without overwhelm. You don't need to force deep emotions. You just need to give your body space to speak its language. Jung's shadow and the body. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the hidden, repressed parts of ourselves that shape behavior from beneath awareness. Our bodies carry shadow material too. When you release trauma somatically, you're not just relaxing muscles. You're meeting the parts of yourself that were exiled: fear, grief, power, tenderness. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Somatic work is one way of making the darkness conscious, not by overthinking, but by allowing what been buried to move. This is why body-based trauma healing isn't separate from psychological depth work. It's part of it. Question for you. When you think about letting your body release, what emotion arises? For some, it's fear. For others, grief. For others still, nothing, just numbness. Whatever your answer is, that's where your story lives. A quick but important reminder. Trauma release can be powerful, but it should never be forced. If strong emotions arise, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means your body trusts you enough to speak. But sometimes, support is needed from a trauma-informed therapist, somatic practitioner, or a safe community. Healing is brave, but it doesn't have to be lonely. Integrating the work. Releasing trauma isn't a one-time event. It's a process of returning to the body again and again. Some days, that might mean a full TRE session with tremors and tears. Other days, it might mean a single deep breath, or simply noticing the way your feet touch the floor. These small acts accumulate. They build safety where there was fear, connection where there was numbness, life where there was only survival. Question for you. If your body could speak one sentence to you right now, what would it say? Don't rush the answer. Sometimes silence speaks first, and then something real comes through. Trauma isn't who you are. It's what happened to you. And what happened to you was stored in your body not because you're weak, but because your body loves you enough to keep you alive. But what was once protection can now be released. Gently, slowly, with breath, with presence. Your body is not your enemy. It's your oldest ally. And when you listen to it, it will begin to speak. If this video resonated with you, I encourage you to explore these practices slowly, with kindness. This isn't a race. This is a homecoming. You deserve to feel safe in your own body. Not just for a moment, but for life. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being brave enough to turn toward the body instead of away from it.